Hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining tonight as we have another Taft Town Hall. We're just 2 days from the start of the school year. So I really do just want to start tonight by simply saying thank you. Thank you to first and foremost all of the parents. Thank you for your patience and understanding as we're navigating this, uncharted territories of never having done it before. Thank you to the staff at Taft. They have worked tirelessly the past few days getting the building ready, getting their classrooms ready, learning lots of technology, and trying to figure out best procedures, putting everything in place. Carla Squire, my assistant principal, has literally been my right hand, and I couldn't have done this without her, so thank you. The other administrators, central office, Dr. Ciano, and the school committee. I mean, everybody has been so super supportive of getting our buildings ready for us to be ready to roll on Thursday morning. We are super duper excited to have students coming back into the building. We had the buses there this morning, and it was a sight to be seen, and it was just nice to see them and know that they'll be bringing students to us in close to 48 hours. So, like I said, we have never done this before, and we are working really hard to put those procedures in place and to make sure that we have thought of every possible scenario. We've done a lot of hiring. With that, we still are hiring. We have all of our teachers in place, but we are still hiring some paraprofessionals at this point. I do know that this is a really anxious time. It's an anxious time for health, but it's also an anxious time as communication has been a lot slower and a little bumpy, and we apologize. I truly understand this. I have a child who's starting kindergarten tomorrow, and so I know firsthand from a parent perspective what this is like, and I know it's not easy, and so I do thank you all for your patience with that. Obviously, not everything has gone as smooth as we have wanted it, but I know that our building is ready. I know our staff is ready, and we're really looking forward to having people back. So I do have some updates for you tonight, as well as some specifics about how to reach out to your child's classroom teacher. I know that a lot of them have been in touch already. We'll continue to be in touch tomorrow, so you will hear from everybody. Just really thinking about what is our goal in bringing students back. Students have not walked through those doors since March, as well as we have many students who will still be learning remotely full time. Really, this is all about making those connections, especially for our little ones, our preschoolers and kindergartners who might necessarily have never been in our building before, but making those connections and really working on that social emotional, as well as reminding them, what are the new guidelines? What does it look like? It is going to look like differently in the building. Tomorrow I'll be emailing you out some of our PBIS procedures about just the language we're going to be using with our students around the bathroom, the hallways, the bus. So, if you can reinforce those, we greatly appreciate that. But really, one of the things that someone said to me when I first started my career was, when you're a teacher, you have to set those expectations, and content will come. We all know we're worried about content because of the spring and what that looks like for our students. Everybody's coming in a different place. I have no doubt that our teachers are prepared to catch them up and for us to cover the curriculum this year. But before we dive deep into content, we really need to establish those connections. And that's going to be the goal the next couple of days and next week, and really for those first couple of weeks at Taft. So really the whole goal for the year, I know that people have seen this before. I know this is one of Mr. Rubin's favorite things. No matter what we do, we can't eliminate all risks. We have put lots of procedures in place. We have thought of everything that we could possibly think of, and we know that there are still things that might be unexpected because, like I said, we have never done this before. But what I do know is that Taft is an amazing place. Uxbridge is a fantastic community, and we're going to get through this together. And it's a partnership and it's a team. I can't thank those of you who have sent, you know, some of the loveliest emails thanking us for things, but we are truly a team. This is a partnership, and we will do this together. Just to kind of review what cohort schedules look like, because I know there's been a little bit of confusion, but cohort A, students are in person on Monday and Tuesday, and then they are remote Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And cohort B is remote Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're in person Thursday and Friday. We consider cohort C our all-in students. That includes our preschool and our kindergarten students. And so they'll be with us 4 full days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And they have a half day on Wednesday. Cohort D is considered those students who have opted to be fully remote. There is some confusion a little bit around the start of the school week because we're starting school on a Thursday, but we wanted to make sure that we got to see all students this Thursday and Friday. And so cohort A is starting in person on Thursday with cohort C. Our cohort B and D are going to be remote. Friday, cohort B will come in person along with C, and cohort A and D will be remote. The earliest you can drop off in person is 8:25 in the morning. Buses will be unloading at 8:25. Drop-off circle will start at 8:25. Taft school hours are 8:35 to 3, and this includes students who are remote. So teachers will be sending out information, if you haven't received it already, how to log on to Google Classroom, how to log on to Seesaw, how to log on to that first Zoom at 8:35 on Thursday morning. So then we go into that first full week of school, which will then begin that normal schedule of cohort A being in person on Monday and Tuesday, and cohort B being in person on Thursday and Friday. And just a reminder for everybody that all students, you know, have a half in-person day on Wednesdays from 8:35 to 11:30. They will still be having activities to do at home Wednesday afternoon. So Taft arrival and dismissal, as you saw, there were a couple revised versions of this. And part of that was when we brought the buses in this morning, and thank you to Mr. Hyde and Dr. Ciano who were over helping us with buses this morning. When we brought buses over this morning, we realized that we needed to change our procedures kind of back to what
are you doing?
Mike, can you mute everybody for me? Thanks. So with that, for those of you that have been at Taft before, it will be exactly the way it was last year. For those of you that are new to Taft, we did share out a map. We do have a drop-off circle for parents. If they want to drop off in the cars, you queue up and a staff member will come over to your vehicle. Your child will exit your vehicle on the right side, and then they will go in through the cafeteria doors. We do ask that if you are in the drop-off cars that you please wear a mask, as well as make sure that your child has a mask for drop-off. We do anticipate that our drop-off of cars will increase, so we are asking that if you can park on Granite Street or McCluskey and walk your child over, to please do so, to try to eliminate some of that traffic coming into the Taft parking lot. Our parking lot is a small parking lot, and we will have all of the buses in there. Just like last year, buses will come in and they will park in 2 rows. We'll put cones out. All buses will be off. There will be staff throughout the buses. All students will unload at the same time and head to their entrances. With that, kindergarten and first grade students will enter into door number 4, and grade 2 and 3 students will enter number 1 if they are bus drop-offs. So number 1 is that main entrance of the door. Number 4 is the one that kind of juts out a little bit in the front that heads down our first grade hallway. We will have a walker drop-off from Granite Street and McCluskey going into doors 15 and 16, which are by the basketball courts. And all students who are in the drop-off cars will be going in through the cafeteria along with our preschool. We will have plenty of staff out there on Thursday and Friday to make sure that people know which way to go. We do ask that everybody please wear a mask and be patient. We always know that the first couple of days of school, getting into routines, the buses will unload kindergarten students first, and we will hold all other students on the bus on Thursday and Friday. We like to do this just to get our kindergarten students off, as they haven't been to our building, and we get them to where they need to go, and then we unload grades 1, 2, and 3. So we will be doing that on Thursday and Friday morning. With that too, as a kindergarten mom, I know how important those first day of school pictures are, as well as that, you know, you drive and you park and you want those pictures of entering, your child entering the school. We are going to ask that, you know, please, you know, feel free to come take your pictures at McCluskey and out in the field, things like that. But just for safety and to minimize the amount of people, to please take your pictures and try not to clutter the front of the building. And I know that's a big ask as a kindergarten mom, because we all want those precious pictures. Oh, sorry. Dismissal. So this year dismissal, we're gonna, because of the way the bus runs are, we will have a set of buses there that will be in the same order. We're gonna load the buses in 2 waves. We'll get the first wave loaded and out, and we will get the second wave then loaded and out. Teachers will be bringing students down to load the buses, and we will be loading in a kind of a very regimented order. Pre-K will still be picking up at the cafeteria. I have been asked by several parents who have pre-K students who have other students in the building if we can continue to have their other children head down to pre-K dismissal, because we realize that you can't be in 2 places at once. Please just contact the teachers and we will accommodate you for that. We totally understand that. For our K-3 for parent pickup, we traditionally have had 2 doors. However, we are expecting an increase in parent pickup. So we have added a 3rd door. Right now we have it broken A through F at door 16, G through L at door 15. The new door is door number 14, which is on the back end of the playground by the music room. So that is M through Z. The doors might change for Monday, and we will communicate that out on Sunday. Really what we're doing is we're trying really hard to be equitable about the number of people we have at the doors, and we're not 100% positive at this moment in time the number of parent pickups we are going to have. And so once we have all of that information, we will make it equitable, and if those door numbers change, just as far as the alphabet, we will communicate that out to you. So just kind of an introduction to our teachers, because you know we do have a few new teachers. I will be sharing this slide presentation out to you. A lot of the questions that everyone has are really teacher related questions and really need to be directed to your child's teacher. And so I will share, when I share this out, that you really need to email the child's teacher with their first initial last name and the @oxbridge.k12.ma.us, but I will share that in my email. So our pre-K teachers, we have 3. We have Mrs. Merkier, who's doing our full day program, Mrs. Churchill, who's doing our 4-hour program and some of our subs separate, and Mrs. Russell, who's doing our half day program. We have a lot of kindergarten teachers this year, so I know kindergarten teachers and parents, you wanted those lists out, but I hired my last kindergarten teacher, and we added a teacher on Tuesday of last week. So I mean, we've been fast and furious making sure we're keeping those numbers down and providing you with your child with a great kindergarten experience. So we have Mr. Carter, Mr. Sherman, Mrs. Doyle, Mrs. Buckley, Mrs. Jordanopoulos, Ms. Hazard, Ms. Cormier, and Mrs. Riker is our remote kindergarten teacher. They're super excited to welcome you. I know that the t-shirt colors have gone out. If at all possible, please dress your child in the color of their classroom. That makes it really helpful for us on those first couple days of school to identify where they need to go. For first grade, we have Mrs. Stankovitz and Mrs. Shabbat, who will be starting the school year with us. Mrs. Stankovitz will be returning to us shortly. She They are the all remote teachers. We have Mrs. Mastriani, who is doing our all in for Cohort C. We have Mrs. Martin, Mrs. Mickelson, and Mrs. Frabata, who are our in-person hybrid teachers. Mrs. Martin and Mrs. Mickelson will be supported by Mr. Williams remotely on the students' remote days. And we have Mrs. Roach, who has some all remote students, as well as she'll be supporting Mrs. Frabata's cohort students when they are remote. For grade 2, we have Mrs. Osiello, who is all remote. We have Mrs. Devlin, who has all in. Mrs. Silborn, Mrs. Clemente, and Mrs. Dubois are our hybrid teachers. We were really lucky that Mrs. Clement, who did her student teaching in grade 2 with us and was part of our staff last year, is returning to 2nd grade. And then we have Mrs. Brochu, who will be supporting Mrs. Silborn and Mrs. Dubois remotely, and Mrs. Carpentier, who will have some all remote students, and she will be supporting Mrs. Clement. In 3rd grade, we have Miss Gallerini. She's supporting our all remote students. We have Miss Scagnelli, who's doing our all in. We have Miss Labonte, Miss Osterhout, and Miss Buckley, who will be doing our hybrid in person. Mrs. Micah Lukski will be supporting Miss Osterhout and Miss Buckley's students on their remote days. And Miss Minka has a group of all remote students, as well as she will be supporting Miss Labonte's students on their remote days. So the one thing that I can say about this is that our staff are spending a lot of time planning together, making sure that grade levels are all on the same page, that the experience that students are going to be having remotely and in person are really mirror images. And they're doing a great job planning that and making sure that they continue to plan that, and they'll be communicating that out to families. For specialists, we have Mrs. Seagrave for our physical education, Miss Oulette for art, Miss Raposa for music, Miss Quintiliani, who will be doing computers, as well as some Project Lead the Way, and Miss Arnold, who is our new library teacher and doing some Project Lead the Way. As we've mentioned before, students will receive a special, whether they are remote or in person, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and they will be having the same special for 7 weeks to minimize cohorts and contact, and then they will be changing to a new special. We really tried to think about what grade levels, as well as for remote students, what it was best for them for what special to start with. And so we have a nice schedule in place, and teachers will be communicating that out. Just thinking about some of the procedures and some of the things that are different is before I even talk about that, just as far as a scheduling standpoint, those students receive specials for 40 minutes a day, but also all students will be receiving a 30-minute lunch as well as a 30-minute recess. So for procedures, our hallways, if you come to our hallways, we have some nice dots with 6 feet apart, as well as we have orange lines going down them just to keep students to the right side walking, and to make sure that, a lot of times you would come and students are walking down the center, but we're really teaching students stay to the right side. We're keeping our distance. Bathrooms, we have designated a grade level bathroom. So every single grade level has their own bathroom. They will not be sharing bathrooms. Kindergarten has bathrooms in their classrooms, except for 2, which will be using one designated area. We will be keeping track of what time students are going and who is going into bathrooms at each grade level, just in case we needed that for contact tracing. There would never be more than 3 to 4 students in a bathroom at a time, and we don't even anticipate that. We will no longer be taking students as a classroom to the bathroom, just in the sense of providing the social distancing down the hall, as well as the time on learning. And so the teachers will be doing a lot of expectations of what it looks like to go down the hallway, go into the bathrooms. For kindergarten, they're right in their classrooms, so that makes it a little bit easier for them. For lockers, we do have color-coded lockers. Thank you to a couple of our teachers who went around and color-coded all of the lockers. Typically, students would come into the building and they would
they would go right to their lockers. We are asking students to go right into their classrooms. And on the first couple of days of school, we'll have plenty of staff in the hallways directing them to where their classrooms are and where they need to go. Once they're settled, they will then be called by color to go out into hallways so that they're more than 6 feet apart as they're putting their materials away for the day. Technology, thank you so much to Mr. Missler and the tech staff. They have done an outstanding job, in getting everything ready. I know there's some concern if people haven't picked up their Chromebooks. If your child is all in or in cohort A, meaning that they are in person on Thursday, they do not need to pick up their Chromebook. They will receive their Chromebook the first day. Kindergarten students, we won't be sending those Chromebooks home right away. And we need to teach them about that technology before we send them home, but please do not expect to see the Chromebook go home on the first day of school. Even for first grade, when we get into the routine of our cohorts, sometimes on a Monday night it won't go home, or a Thursday night, just in the sense of the travel time for those Chromebooks. If you have not picked up your Chromebook and you are in cohort B or all remote, please stop by the office tomorrow to pick up your Chromebook. You can come anytime between 8 and 3 tomorrow to get your Chromebook. If that is not convenient, please send me an email or call the office and we will find an alternative time for you, because we know it's important to get you that technology. There are some new procedures in place as far as forgotten items and materials. So the facilities department has moved a window. So if you haven't been to Taft recently, in between the two doors coming into the building, there is now a window to talk to Christine. And so what we're asking is, if your child has forgotten an item or anything like that, there will be a little table out there that you can label it and let Christine know, and then we will get it to your child. We're trying to minimize people entering the building, and especially entering our offices. So please check the handbook and the handbook addendum. I did send out the drafts today. Those still need to have final approval. I don't anticipate any big changes, but I wanted to get the information out to you. So please check out that information, especially the handbook addendum, as those are things that are really specific for this year. So thinking about student responsibilities and what you could do potentially to help us in preparing your child for starting the school year, just really reviewing wearing a mask. And students will be required to wear a mask at all times, except when they're eating lunches. Also washing hands. When students enter the building, they will be hand sanitizing. When they're exiting the building, they'll be hand sanitizing. When they're changing rooms, they'll be hand sanitizing or washing. All of our classrooms have sinks, so they'll be spending a good deal of time doing that, as well as we have some additional custodial staff that will be making sure that our high touch areas are being sanitized throughout the day. We are asking for you to, especially for our kindergarten families, as far as when you're packing lunches, please, tomorrow have your child practice opening lunches, because oftentimes they're unable to open their yogurts or their milk. So try to make your child's lunch as independent as possible. And that way staff will not need to assist them, and they'll be able to take care of themselves. But I don't ever think about that, but I certainly know I practiced that with my son last night, and I was kind of surprised at what he could and couldn't do. But even just zippering the lunch bag, please make sure you do practice that with your child before sending them. We're really going to talk about respecting personal space for students, as well as the responsibility of having devices charged. Students will be using devices on their remote days, but they will be using devices while they're in school as well. And so we want to make sure that they are charged on a daily basis. Please communicate with us. Thank you all for all of your emails. I know I think at this point I might have talked to all of you at this point, but please keep that communication open. Trying to answer as quickly as possible. I know the office has gotten a lot of phone calls, and please be reaching out to your child's teacher. Like I said,
said, I know people have a lot of questions. We're trying to answer them and trying to get you all of the information you need. And we really are a partner in this. We're going to have a fantastic year at Taft. I have no doubt about that. What I have learned in my 20-something years of education is that the first day comes and it always happens and it's always fantastic. And I don't anticipate that this year's going to be any different. We just need to continue to support each other, and we're going to make this happen. One of the things that we're really going to ask for around that partnership is really monitoring your child's health and well-being. That if they're displaying any of the symptoms, I know Nurse Becky has sent home a lot of information. There's information on our website, as well as if you have questions, Nurse Becky is always available to answer them. But if there is a question, please keep your child home, and by all means, please reach out if you have any concerns about that. We're also going to talk about washing hands frequently. One thing that I can say for my own children is, the 20-second rule and counting to 20 seconds or singing happy birthday twice. Please review that with your children, just in the sense of when they're in the bathrooms, and yes, there will be hand sanitizing and teachers will be reminding them and everything like that. But oftentimes we want to do our hand washing quickly. And so to please go over that. We will send out a couple of videos tomorrow morning, just to, reminding how to put on your mask, as well as making sure that you're cleaning your hands. Like I said, masks will be worn at all times, passing times, corridors, common areas. Obviously there are some for medical reasons or disability that will be excused from mask wearing, but we also will have masks available for students. Please send your child with at least 2 masks. And the reason for that is, we're asking that you provide those masks. A lot of times, students are comfortable. Like I said, we will have some available to students, but we're asking that they have more than one. Sometimes they get wet, sometimes they get dirty. And so we want to make sure that students have comfortable masks for themselves. All teachers will be providing mask breaks. There will be mask breaks outside. So students will be taking their classrooms. The nice part about Taft is that a lot of our classrooms have door access to outside. So they'll be taking them outside into the fresh air as much as possible, but there'll be several mask breaks throughout the day. Each individual teacher is doing that with their class, and they know the stamina of their students. It obviously will be very different from a kindergarten classroom to a 3rd grade classroom, as well as even daily. Sometimes you can read your class and know that they need to take an extra break that day. We have talked to all teachers about going outside as much as possible, even lunch times. I do know that some teachers will be sharing to that they might be going out and having picnic lunches outside. We want to make sure that students are out getting fresh air as much as possible. So for breakfast and lunch, students are eating in the classroom. For breakfast, there will be a breakfast cart set up, one in between the 2nd and 3rd grade wing and one in between the kindergarten and 1st grade wing. We'll have set times and staff that will assist students in getting their breakfast and bringing it back to class. Lunches will be ordered in the morning and they will be delivered to the grade levels. I say we have a 30-minute lunch, but we have allotted for 40 minutes in our schedule for lunchtime. Part of that is just we know that it's, students coming in and out and being at their desks, and it's a new process and it's a new procedure, and we're going to have to do a lot around expectations for that. I know that you recently received a memo regarding free lunches, and that goes for everybody. And I know that's, you'd have to read the memo, but I know that that is, I believe, until December 31st. Mr. Hyde might correct me on that one, or until the money runs out, but that all families, all students can access free lunches. So just a, kind of a random thing as far as dress and layers. So I know parents have been informed that windows on buses will be open through the entire ride. I will say that it does get a little cool. I was a little surprised as I was outside Taft today waiting for the buses, how chilly it was this morning. But in addition, we're going to be going out as much as possible. whether that be for recess, whether that be for mass breaks, that could be just even eating outside. And so it could be a little bit cooler. Even if it's drizzling, we might be going out because we want to get them out as much as possible. So please make sure that your child has layers. Sometimes the rooms can get a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler. So please make sure that they have sweatshirts with them and coats and things like that. And let's see. Now I'm not quite sure I'm loving technology at this moment in time. So a couple other things is supplies. So we classroom teachers will be reaching out. We will have supplies for families who are remote to pick up. Everything will be provided for families that they need. I know that teachers have a couple, recommendations and things like that. But when it comes to actual materials, workbooks, phonics boards, things like that, those are coming in. I know I talked to a couple teachers today. We're thinking about once a month having kind of a couple designated times where remote families can come and pick up the materials that they need. We don't want families printing a whole lot of things at home and things like that. We will be providing all of that for you. And like I said, really, we're looking to provide the same experience for all students, whether they're in with us 5 days a week or whether they're in a hybrid model or whether they're all remote. I know that people have a lot more questions, but they really are grade level specific questions. All grade levels have been sending materials out. Classroom teachers will continue to send materials out, as well as if you want to reach out to your classroom teacher, please do so. And I will share with you as soon as I get off, and I will share this PowerPoint out with the information of how you can get in touch with your classroom teacher. If you have specific questions, I know that if you had specific questions, you can throw them in the chat and we will respond to them. I will be getting additional information out to you tomorrow. And by all means, please feel free to call us at the school. Please feel free to send me an email. But like I said, we're just really excited to have students coming back to our buildings. We're ready for them. We have everything in place for them, and we're really, really looking forward to it. I know there's a little anxiety and stress that comes with that. This year is a little bit different than some other years, but we're definitely going to get through it. Dr. Chiano, is there anything, as I see that you're on, that you want to add?
Ms. Belleville, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the excitement that we have for the first day of school. Regardless of whether you're in person or remote, it's a milestone in your child's life, and we're looking forward to having your children back in person or remotely. I just wanted to say how proud I am of not only Ms. Belleville, Ms. Squire, but all of our administrators and all of our teachers, support staff. They've been working so hard over the past 10 days and over the summer to prepare for this moment. And we know we're going to get off to a good school year. Really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chiano. I do know that there's a little anxiety about those of you that are participating fully remotely or your child's starting fully remotely about what that's going to look like. Your classroom teachers are sending out the information, whether it be Seesaw or Google Classroom, and how to specifically log in that first day. The fully remote schedule looks very similar to the in-person schedule in the sense that students will have a designated time for their special, a designated time for their lunch and recess, and will be required to log in at specific times for English language arts and mathematics and small groups. Obviously, none of us want our children on a screen for a full day, and we have built in screen breaks, as well as there will be synchronous and asynchronous learning going on, but their day will very much mirror the day of the students in the Taft building. More information is going to be provided by your remote teacher as far as the schedule, the specific schedules, and they will be reaching out to you tomorrow if you haven't already received any information. But as always, please feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to reach out to Mrs. Squire, to the teacher. We're super excited to have everybody coming back, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. And we hope that you have a fantastic evening.